if you did not finish those, I will put them back up momentarily. Okay. For our next step, I want you guys to track your paper where it says the I do. Okay. I'm going to do one as an example, but I'm going to get some feedback from the class because I know that you guys, a lot of this class has worked with variables before. Can I use that, please? So the first thing we're going to do, like I said, this is all grounded in being able to design our own experiments starting later next week. Okay? Before we can start picking and choosing our own variables, we have to practice identifying them in a passage. Okay? So for today, we'll be reading through. Right now, it just starts with like a sentence or a question, and we want to identify the result. We want to identify what we're changing, and then lastly, the thing that we're keeping the same. Okay? So for our I do, Bryce, can I have you read that for us, please?
It does.
The I do right here.
Oh, you want to know how increasing the amount of time you study will affect your grade in physics science.
It's a really important question, right? Everyone wants to increase their grade in this class. Unless you've already got an A+, then you can't really increase it. But let's think about this for a second. What is the result? So thinking about this sentence, you want to increase the amount of time you study, and you want to see if that will affect your grade in physical science class. So who can tell me, what is the result? All right, Philemon, before you share, I want you to make sure you're saying this in a full, complete sentence, and that you're using a voice loud enough for everyone to hear.
The result is to your grade.
Yeah. I love how you turned that question around. So if we were saying, what are you looking for as a result? You said, the result I am looking for. The next piece we're thinking about is, well, what am I going to change to see if that affects my grade? Okay, so what from the sentence? Denise? Can you turn that back around and use a full, complete sentence and increase that volume?
You are changing the amount of time you study.
So I know taking the time to write incomplete sentences like slows down your ability to answer questions. But what's more important than the speed that we answer our questions is the thoroughness of our response. So on our last test, when I was grading them, I noticed when you guys were telling me about the tool or the unit or the property, your ability to write in full, complete sentences was outstanding because we spent so much time in class practicing. Okay? So today, for every single question, we want to go back and practice and write like a scientist would, okay? Because that's going to help increase our understanding of the material. It's also going to help increase your writing skills across the board, whether it's in my class or in another teacher's class, okay? The last word is study. For part C, we have to get creative here. It's not written down for us, okay? So I want you right now to visualize yourself studying or doing your homework, right? Think about what are things that could affect the way you might study. And like things we would want to keep the same so that it wouldn't have an effect on how much you study and the grade that we have. Trayshawn, can you tell us one thing in a full sentence?
One thing you would want to keep the same is the background, like the sound around you.
Can you tell me why?
Because if you in a loud area, it's going to mess with your concentration. And if you're in a quiet area, you can study better.
Good. So this is one possibility. One thing I would keep the same is the noise around us because it might affect my concentration and my ability to study. Yes, I love that answer. Who's got another one? There's so many possible things we would want to keep the same. The subject, you want to make sure that you're studying science and not another subject? can you go back and get that into a full, complete sentence using, something from our question?
Something that you will want to keep the same that might affect your results is the subject that you study, which is science.
Good, I like that. You were starting, I think you, what did you say after that? You said you would want to study math?
Right, if you're trying to boost your science grade.
Exactly, good one. Who's got one more? Let's hear one more. What?
Something that you will keep the same is the amount of time spent on, like you study in science, but you want to keep track of the amount of time you study on each question.
We can extend that, yeah. So if we're studying like the different properties, we would want to study like volume for the same amount of time we study time. Okay. Great. What I would like for you to do next is with your table buddy, work on the we do problem. Okay? I want one person to read that out loud. I want you to talk about your answer before you write it down. Okay? Work on the whole we do, part A, B, and C. Go ahead.
We do. We want to will affect the amount of time this week.
I love that. That's challenging. Maybe we'll have one more second, Emily. Why don't you read what you have here, and then I want to hear what sounds like you just did what part you want to.
Type of food.
So what were they, why are you making it now? What makes yours different?
It might be chemicals inside. Have something there with sweet, another food.
Yeah, that's great. Is that the result? You want to know if the amount of food you feed will affect the amount of on before you move on to part B, I want you guys to actually read aloud and talk about it before you start writing. I would say you're in a good place if you're finishing up your thoughts on part B. What do you mean by type of food?
Certain brand. No, you want to like no.
You just move on to the next one while we're reading. Write down loud.
What do you want to know?
Read it out loud.
You want to know the rest of
All right, take about 30 more seconds to wrap up your response to part C. If you're finished, you could move on to the you do. Keep working urgently.
They want to know if the last rate cover is
So what we were maybe going to do is have like you guys share, kept the manager share, and be like, oh yeah, I agree.
Are you changing
For these next ones, since you've already been talking to the group, Alrighty, let's come back together. Can you guys set your pencils down? You're tracking me in 3, 2, 1, and 0. Alright, I would love for someone to share part A. Okay, so here's a chance to see if you have the right answer, if you wrote it in a nice complete sentence. Let's start with Yvonne. Yvonne's going to share out loud voice. As soon as she's done, we're going to thumbs up if we agree, thumbs down if we disagree. Go ahead.
Do I have to read it?
No, you can just read your answer because since you've written it in a complete sentence, we know exactly what the answer or the question is.
I said the result I'm looking for is the increase or decrease in time slept.
Do we agree or disagree? In 3, 2, 1, and 0. I agree to volunteer to do part B. All right, Taylor, nice enough.
We are changing the amount of food we feed the dog.
Great. Do we agree or disagree? In 3, 2, 1, and 0. Oh, I don't see everybody's thumbs. Can you read that again one more time? And this time, if you're confused or you want help, give me a little handshake. Go ahead.
We are changing the amount of food we feed the dog.
Great. Thumbs up, down if we agree or disagree. In 3, 2, 1, and 0. Excellent. I agree as well. Let's hear a few different controls. So letter C, that thing we're keeping the same. Let's start with Khalil, then we'll pop to Malik, and then to Maisha. Go ahead.
You are keeping the food the same.
Can you turn that into like a whole? So if the question is asking is one thing you would want to keep the same or it might affect your results. Tell us more.
One thing you keep the same is the food, because you give the amount of food to the dog, like amount.
So one thing we would keep the same is the amount of food we would give to the dog. Do we agree or disagree? In 3, 2, 1, and 0. Dalen, can you tell us why do you disagree? We're listening closely to it.
I disagree because we're trying to figure out, like the amount of food which the dog is given, how much time to sleep.
You're trailing off at the end. Finish your thought. Nice enough.
I said that we wouldn't change. We wouldn't keep the same amount of food that the dog receives because we're trying to figure out, how much food the dog receives, how much time to sleep.
So depending on how much food the dog gets, that might change how much he sleeps. Yeah, so that's the thing that we're changing. So that's definitely not something we would want to keep the same. It's the whole part of our experiment. We're changing the amount of food to see if sleep changes. Trishan, give us something that's kept the same.
One thing you want to keep the same is the type of food the dog eats. Because some foods made with different stuff, so one food might have something that help you sleep longer, and the other one won't.
Good, I like that response. Who was the last person I said? No, I already said it. He wasn't. Jemima, go ahead.
Trayshawn already said it.
Oh, he already said yours? Okay, one more that wasn't said, Sean.
My partner and I said that what we need to keep the same would be the type of dog. Because it could be different type of dogs how they sleep around the amount of food that they eat.
So like a pit bull might need more sleep than a little chihuahua,
Yeah.
or vice versa. I agree with that. All right, next up, I would like for us to go to silent independent practice. It says